Hello everybody, my name is Bobby, and welcome to the first episode of my FiveM coding series. In this episode, we're going to set up and begin running our server with the QBCore framework, and the links to everything that you'll need to get your server running will be in the description below. I'd like to just make a quick note. In my personal opinion, and the opinion of many others, I would stay as far away from game server hosts like XAMPP hosting as much as possible. Probably keep yourself into the VPS realm. You get a lot more dedication to your server. You get a lot better performance typically. They're just easier to work with. And for the most part, they're safer because you usually get better DDoS protection as well. And you could just customize your VPS to your liking. It's a Windows machine just like your home computer. So as long as you understand Windows, you'll understand the VPS. Anyways, so the first program we are going to need is XAMPP, or XAMPP, depending on how you want to pronounce it. You can download that from this link, like I said, will be in the description. And we're just going to click the XAMPP for Windows. Once we get that downloaded, it's going to open up this other tab here, which we can close. And we're going to wait for SourceForge here. Perfect. So once we get that downloaded, we are able to open it. I am not going to open it since I already have it installed on my computer, but it is a very simple installation. You just want to make sure that you get Apache and MySQL. With that being said, your next step is we are going to want to create a folder. Now you can do this anywhere. For my personal computer, I have all of my servers on a separate hard drive. And for VPSs, they're usually just stored on the desktop. So I'm just going to make mine for this video on the desktop, and we're just going to name it server. We're going to hop into there and create another folder inside of it called Artifacts. Then you're going to visit the second link in the description, which is the FiveM Artifacts page. You can see that there are tons of them, 6,645 to be exact. But we are just going to want to stick with the latest recommended 5848 at the time of the video. So we'll click that to get it downloaded. It's going to download as a 7-zip folder, which as long as you have WinRAR, you are perfectly fine. And I believe Windows can even open 7-zip. I might be wrong on that though. So we're just going to wait for that download to finish for us. All right, and now that that download is complete, we can open it up. And we are going to take everything in that zip. We're going to put it in the artifacts folder. So let's just get everything selected here and move it over. Fair warning, certain antiviruses will detect the, fxserver.exe as a virus. I used to have Avast and it did. So if you run into that issue, you're just going to want to make an exception for fxserver so that you can host your server here. So with that being said, we're going to double click on fxserver, and it's going to open up the command prompt for us. And once it does that, it will open up. Let me just get this link over here. It will open up for you this page here. Now you will have the code already put in most likely. In case you don't, you can go back to the console and it tells you use the pin below to register, and it gives you your code. So you're going to put that in and you're going to press link account. And then I am already logged in to the CFX forms, so txAdmin will register that for me. It will give you options to log in. CFX is one of those options, so you can easily and quickly get that done. We're going to hit continue. With that, it is going to ask you for a backup password. Now, this is used in the case of the CFX forms being down, so you can't log in if you use that option. Or if you have an issue logging into any of your login sources, whatever service you choose, you will always be able to use this backup password. So I'm just going to let Microsoft Edge pick one for me. And you're going to want to check off that you have read and agreed to the terms of service and the txAdmin license and create your master account. Perfect. So now we will hit next to get to your server name. Your server name in this case is not important. You can always change it later. It is very easy to change. In this case, I am just going to put example server for us. We'll hit next. Deployment type. Now this is where you get to pick. If you already have server files, then you can use your existing server data. In this case, we're going to go off the base that you don't have a server already made and you're creating a new one. So we're going to select popular recipes. And then in this case, we're going to select QBCore framework. And then for data location, it will automatically pick one for you. You can change it if you'd like. I typically keep it. The location is going to be the server folder, the one we just created on the desktop, and then in txData, it will create that folder here. That's the default. So I'm going to press save. And then we're going to run the recipe deployer. With that, before we get running on this page, we are going to want to use XAMPP, that first program we downloaded. So I'm going to get that opened up, and your program should look like this. So we are going to want to start MySQL. MySQL is the service that provides your database that FiveM will use to, well, not FiveM, but your server scripts will use to connect to store tons of information about players, bands, etc. So with that started, we can now kind of scroll through this. This is just the recipe for QBCore. This is pre-made from that team. So it's just setting up here to download all of the scripts that QBCore comes with, as well as the standalone scripts such as the Safecracker, Bob74IPL, even OxMySQL gets downloaded for you. So we're just going to hit next here. Now it is going to ask us for a license key. You're going to visit the third link in the description, which is keymaster.fivem.net. And we are going to, in this case, verify that we're a human for Cloudflare. And we'll be brought to this website. So you're going to press login, and it will bring you to the CFX page to log in using your CFX account. I'm already logged in, as you can see. And once you get to this page, you're going to press new server on the left side. This display name is just for you to remember what the key is for. So I am going to use example server. The initial server IP address. This is going to be your IP address. If you're using a VPS, you will use the IP address of that VPS. This has to be correct, especially the first time, as the key is locked and will not register with your server if the IP the server is trying to connect to originally does not match what you type in here. I will get that done in a moment. For server type, there are a couple options here. If you have a VPS, you can select VPS. And if we're doing home hosted, we'll select other, and we can just type in home hosted. And then we're going to check off the CAPTCHA. Give me 1 second so that I can get my IP address in there. So after you get your IP address in there, you're going to want to hit that blue generate button at the bottom, to which will bring you to this page. And you will have your key listed here. You are IP locked the first time, like I said, so this initial IP does have to be correct. In this case, we're just going to copy the key. Keep in mind, you are never going to want to share this key with anybody. Keep it secret. You can share it with, trusted developers or a co-owner of some sort, but do not share it with friends or other server owners, because this key can be used maliciously against you. So once we hit copy on that, we're going back to the server deployer, and we are going to paste our license key in there. You can show and hide your database options. For XAMPP, it is set up by default to localhost 3306 with the root username and no password. The database name here you can change if you would like, but txAdmin automatically generates one for you, and I'm going to stick with that. And then you can have txAdmin set up to automatically delete the database if one already exists with this name. It won't matter for us since one doesn't, so we can just keep that checked. And we're going to press run recipe. And then txAdmin is going to handle downloading all of these scripts from the recipe that we've looked over before. And it will just take a couple minutes. It really just depends on the strength of your internet. So I will be right back once this is all set up and running for us. All right, so once txAdmin has all of the scripts set up for us, you're going to see the green progress bar with done and a blue next button that we can click, which will bring us to see the server configuration file. Now, don't worry, you can always edit this later. So anything that you may forget to change or need to change later, always possible. So for example, the host name, right? Example server, which is what we originally named this, built with QBCore framework. We can just change this and delete everything else to example server if we'd like. And the project name here is QBCore framework example server. That's fine. I'll leave the project description alone. For the most part, everything's set up for you already. We're not really going to have to worry about the Steam Web API key in this case. And our database connection string is already set up for us. There are a few options here that you can alter around, such as for voice configuration, your locale, and if you would like to use target. I'm going to set this to false for now. We can always come back later should we need to. And if you scroll further down towards permissions, you will see that you automatically get added to the admin group. So we're going to save and run server, and that will bring us to our console. The one thing you really need to know about this first start is you are going to see a lot of logs happening about the chat resource. It's going to be from Yarn. You're going to want to let these fully go until the build tasks complete. If you don't, you may have to delete your cache or run into anything else. If you do run into this error where it says waiting for other Yarn instance to finish, just sit back, give it a moment. Yarn's getting set up with a whole bunch of dependencies, so give it a moment to set itself up. I will be back once that's all complete. All right, and you will know that the build has completed because it will tell you build task completed, starting resource chat, and we get that we have started the resource chat. It is also building screenshot basics, so we're waiting on it to complete that as well, which it has just finished. Now we are fine to restart our server, and once we do, we will not see any more of those Yarn logs. Since everything is already built, the server should just quickly and easily start back up, like it just did. So this is your server now. You are running your QBCore FiveM server. You can see if you go to the resources list, we have all of the default QBCore scripts here, and we are ready to go. So with this being said, I do want to show you guys two things. The first one is going to be the QBCore documentation. This is a great website to help you understand QBCore and understand how to not only code with it, but do other things, such as they have guides for your Windows installation, setting up permissions, and script optimization. They also have information for all of their scripts. I believe there may be one or two missing here, but most of them are there. So this is a really great place to look to try to understand how some of their scripts work and what you can change. The only other thing I want to show you guys is phpMyAdmin, which is what I use to manage the database, and it comes with XAMPP. So for that, we are going to want to start Apache and wait till it turns green. And then we are going to type in localhost/phpMyAdmin. And that will bring us to phpMyAdmin, our database manager. Now, you will have less databases here than I do. Matter of fact, I have 3 QBCore ones. You will only have one. I just have multiple servers, so I want to make sure E2A. So this one. So very important to know, especially when using XAMPP. XAMPP does have the tendency every once in a while to corrupt some files. Typically, your database will be fine, but to ensure that all of your data is safe, you can easily extract everything by going to the export tab here, and then just press export at the bottom. And that will save an SQL file that later, should you need to import for any reason, you can do right here and get all of the information back. So this will ensure no matter what happens to your server, that you always have a backup of your data. There are also scripts that do this automatically for you and will save the data. So that is something fantastic to look into. With all of that being said, our server is now running and ready to go. So if you found this tutorial helpful, please leave the video a like, comment, and subscribe. I have a good bit of content in store regarding creating scripts from scratch and getting them to work with QBCore. So if you're looking forward to seeing that, let me know. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you all back soon.